South Carolina. I just got some fuel, and I'm going to head out rail fanning at SY interlocking until it gets dark, and then after that I will be switching to Hanahan. I predict I'm going to be out fairly late because one of CSX's Spirit units is on X410, not M410, X410. I guess it's an extra train. Right now the weather looks a little bit underwhelming compared to what people thought it was going to be. And of course there's some idiot tailgating me. I actually thought they hit me for a second. These South Carolina drivers have some psychiatric issues. But I looked on the radar a few minutes ago, and the storm's incoming. I'm gonna wash my windshield, make sure I can actually see the road. The good news is we do have salt trucks this year, apparently. I go to Mount Pleasant to get my gas because the price is better and it's safer. So we're going to be on the road for a little bit, maybe 20-30 minutes until we can. Hello, Jeff. So as I said a minute ago, I'm on the way to rail fanning because the way that I drive to SY, there's every chance that a train's going to come through while I'm on the way and stuck at a crossing and can't set up. That reminds me, while I'm at it, I should turn my scanner on. Believe it or not, you can actually pick up some radio traffic all the way here from Mount Pleasant, even though we're probably about at least a good 5 miles from SY. I am going to be rail fanning around North Charleston until it gets dark, and then around sunset, assuming there's nothing actively coming through at sunset, I'm gonna move over to Hanahan. As the crow flies, they're about 4 miles apart. On the railroad, they're 5 miles apart, roughly. Unfortunately, I don't live in Mount Pleasant yet. So far the roads are absolutely fine. I honestly thought they would have closed the bridges by now, but I guess since they actually have salt trucks this year, they're keeping them open. I'll have to see on the traffic report. I've only gotten a couple of flurries so far. By the way, if I'm driving, I might have a hard time reading the chat, especially once I'm on the interstate. I'm not even going to look at the chat while I'm moving. I wish they'd coordinate these lights. I was just getting ready to honk at that Lexus. It's one of my biggest pet peeves on the road is when people won't go on green. Oh, also, if any of you guys have been following my trains route building streams, my fictional railroad would be about a block to the left from here. I actually try to represent that particular building on the left on the route, at least as close as I could. It would be nice to have commuter rail around here. Now we're crossing over Shem Creek. A few more lights and we're going to hit the Ravenel Bridge. This area keeps changing over the years. That gas station we're passing didn't have a roof for a couple of years, because this and the one by Patriots Point, a couple of years ago they were in the middle of replacing the roof, and then the owner changed, and so they had to restart the whole process with the city again. Everything's getting built up around here. Nobody knows how to drive, so there's always somebody tailgating me, because how dare I go the speed limit when we're under the threat of a winter storm. Also, I need new tires, but I wasn't able to get an appointment before Monday. I took my car to the mechanic not last night, but the night before, Thursday night. And yeah, they basically said that the reason the car is shaking is actually because of my tires. My alignment's out, so... Well, the mistake that I made was I got all my tires separately, and I didn't get them all aligned after I'd gotten all four the last time, so there's a lot of premature tire wear. And also the roads down here are so terrible, they'll knock out your alignment anyway. Last time I checked what the temperature is, the Weather Channel said it's 34 here. In case you're wondering what I have on the radio, if you can actually hear it, it's Ella Fitzgerald. My car doesn't have a lot of power. It's hard to accelerate up this hill. Actually change lanes without these people deliberately trying to block me. And if you're wondering what you're looking at, those are little mini plushies from a series called Azur Lane. It's a sort of anime and gacha series about World War II ships as anime characters, which I really like. It's not quite snowing yet, but they're saying it will soon. The radar shows stuff over North Charleston, and I can kind of see it a little bit. You know, you would think with all these people moving down from up north, you'd think they know how to drive in the snow. But these people can't even drive in rain. That sounds like NS-19D building their train, which we're gonna pass over the very southern part of the main line there. It's hard to see from the side where the camera's pointing. But over to the left, there's a major auto rack yard for the port, because the 19D which is empty, and 18D, which is loaded, run every day except Sunday between Greer and Charleston. Up in Greer, there's a big BMW plant that produces a lot of cars for export, and that's what 18D carries. The empty racks go back up, and we're gonna be catching 19D at SY later. Usually they get through there somewhere between 3:30 and 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Any times I refer to are Eastern time for anyone who's not in that time zone. Over to the left where you just saw that big glass building, that was around where the northern end of Union Station used to be until 1947. Union Station burned to the ground that year and was never rebuilt. There is a lot of speculation going on around what actually happened, because a lot of people think it was arson and or an insurance job. Arson, definitely. Because you have to remember, it was I don't know what the right term is, but it was sort of Spanish architecture, and stucco is the right term, I should say. It was a stucco building, so it shouldn't have burned that easily. The other thing is, there were no locomotives in the station at the time that could have caused the fire. So it still remains a subject of speculation to this day. After Union Station burned, Atlantic Coastline and the Southern both moved their stations out to North Charleston, where the old ACL station that was built in the early 50s was demolished about 5-10 years ago, and a new station was built in its place. That's where Amtrak stops now. That's the low battery alarm. I'll change the batteries when I get there. Merging traffic around here can just be awful to deal with. It also doesn't help around here that the speed limit sign keeps getting knocked down, because it should be right around here. But since people can't drive, they keep hitting it. This is around where it goes up from 50 to 60. The good thing is, driving all the way from Summerhill to Mount Pleasant and back, it was enough to really get my engine warmed up. This whole port terminal that this exit goes to was built about, maybe 10 years ago. There's still a lot of construction going on over there. Okay, this is another one of my pet peeves, is people going way below the speed limit. I mean, if you're going to go below the limit, get in the right lane. Speed limit's 60 here, you're on the interstate. So we're going to be taking the exit at Montague Avenue. Which is, I'm so used to driving here that I almost forget the exit numbers. The main ones the ones that I remember is that I take 206 going when I go home. 199 is Main Street, Somerville. 207 is Highway 78. And 221B is the Ravenel Bridge to Mount Pleasant if you're going eastbound on 26. Here we go again. These people won't go the speed limit. This guy stays in his lane. Kidnap van. You always got to be suspicious of those white vans. People always say that the stereotype's overblown in the media, but really, you never know what's going on inside one of those things. Welcome to the city of North Charleston, aka the highest crime area in the entirety of South Carolina. I choose my rail fanning spots partially based on what's going on there, and also partially based on the fact that I was going to say partially. I know the battery's low. I'm not going to change it while I'm driving down the interstate at 65 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's right. We needed to keep pumping while we're waiting on
Over here on the right, we have 3 tracks here. The one closest to us is the CSX, basically a yard lead and interchange track. A little bit further hidden by the weeds is the NS main line, formerly the Southern, before that the South Carolina Railroad and Canal Company. And even further past that tree line is the CSX intermodal yard. You can see the NS signal up here. You can see it a lot better at night, to be fair. It's currently a danger. See where that track curves over? That's where the CSX connects to. CSX connects to NS there. So actually, where we're going to be going is right to the right side of this bridge. You can almost see, kind of just before that radio tower. Can't see anything in the yard here.
Alright, stop.
I think I left my toolbox open by accident in the trunk, so that might be what that noise is.
Go to channel 12. Nobody will be over there. Copy that, Zach.
Okay, taking the Montague exit. So give it about 5 minutes and we're going to be at SY. For any rail fans visiting Charleston, if you're going to go to SY, please make sure that you do behave yourself.
Channel, Zach.
Snow's starting to come down. Anyway, I was going to say, any rail fans visiting SY, please make sure that you behave yourself, because SY is on railroad property. And the thing is, CSX doesn't really care if there's rail fans there as long as you're not an idiot. This bridge ahead of us goes over the NS yard. NS yard is going to be on the right. And I know you're seeing all these signs for the Amtrak station. We're not going to the station. We're going to turn before the station. Even if I wanted to accelerate faster, my car just doesn't have the power to do it. It's a four-cylinder Honda with almost 220,000 miles. NS is switching, so nothing much going on. We're gonna turn right at the next traffic light. If you were to keep going straight at this traffic light, you'd. Oh, hey, there's something moving on CSX down there. Might be. That is an intermodal. That's I-137. Well, it's not going to do much good. It's not going to do much good to go towards the crossing and just get stuck behind all those cars. So we're still going to go to SY anyway. I-137 is a daily intermodal between Charlotte, North Carolina, and Jacksonville, Florida. Among other places, I know they work Dillon, Charleston, and Savannah. Haven't seen a daylight one of those in a while. Obviously we weren't gonna make that light. This is a long light. Over to the right, just past that tan and whatever color that is. Anyway, right of that building is the main entrance to the Norfolk Southern yard. So some idiot taking a picture of my car behind me. This is sort of known to be a rough area. Thing is, this area, anywhere along Rivers Avenue, you don't get out of your car here. There's someone behind me in what looks like a white older model Ford Expedition. They're turning into the Dollar General, so you know, as a woman, I just always have to be paranoid about people following me. I don't like having to go across all those lanes at once, but you don't really have a choice here. The viaduct over to the left goes over CSX. We are going to follow this road down to the end and get on the gravel service road. And once we're on the gravel service road, we're gonna take that down to where it hits a corner to go towards the NS yard, and then we're gonna park off the road. The reason this road is called Piggly Wiggly Drive is that that's the name of a chain of supermarkets, and this building used to be their main warehouse. In fact, their logo is still on part of it as we just passed. This road is a little bit safer because it is mostly industrial. You have a propane company. PS is down here, among various other things. So, see, from here it looks like the road ends. Wait, that might not be I-137, that might be I-138. Based on the way he's backing. So we are going to go very slow, partially because again, like I said about my tires, but also just because it's, with the snow coming down, the ground is still above freezing, so the snow's not accumulating yet, but it does create moisture. I hope they didn't put that pile of ballast on top of exactly where I was going to park. But if I will give CSX a lot of credit for cutting all those weeds down, because especially in the summer when the weeds grow high, the bugs out here are just horrible. Also sometimes you can see planes landing because the airport's not too far from here. And here we are. Now, before I set up my tripod, I'm going to replace these batteries because that beeping is extremely annoying. One of the nice things about this spot is that, again, as I've said before, NS and CSX cross here. This is pretty much the best spot as far as action is concerned pretty much in all of Lower South Carolina. Also, because you can't even really see the road until you get to it, it's kind of isolated from all the crime that happens around North Charleston. Occasionally you'll see a trespasser here, but that's about it. I always try and warn them when they come through that they shouldn't be walking on the tracks. I think one of my interior fans needs needs lubrication. Scanner is active again. I'm gonna back the car up just a couple of feet so that ballast pile doesn't block my door. I have railfan live here once before, though I don't have my laptop this time. Yes, the car does shake a little bit when it's parked and running. That's partially because I have the heat running because it is cold outside. Now it's time for me to get out of the car and set the tripod up. And I have the tripod set up so I can manage, at least for CSX, from the inside of my car because it is cold out there. The phone's shaking, that's because I'm responding to some texts. There's one of the salt trucks going by. CSX has been pretty good about keeping the weeds down, but can't say the same for NS. One of the reasons I'm keeping the phone where it is for now is because the phone needs to charge. Since going live is Not great for my battery life. I think I see another plow off in the distance. Okay, so this marks 2 years in a row that we've gotten snow in South Carolina. Is the South getting colder? Your guess is as good as mine. Just about see I-137 over there. And okay, so much for that. See, I was trying to maybe I might be able to stretch my charger long enough to actually put it on the tripod. Whoops. Okay, got the charger to stretch. Got the charger to stretch out long enough. So this I am 99% sure is I-138. starting to come down a little bit on those greenhouse. I am going to end the stream for a few minutes so I can make some important phone calls. I will be back live again in a few minutes. So thanks everyone for watching.